This dude had an opportunity to be somebody. Instead, he became somebody they wanted dead. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. So, I've told stories about this individual several times in past videos. I never said his name. And, I was thinking about how there's certain occasions where I can go back and put the name to the person for various reasons. And this is one of those. So this is a person whose name a lot of people know. Some people have even asked me in the comment sections if I ever knew him and I ever did time with him. Well, yes, and let's talk about it. So I met Chunky from Verdugo in 1995. He had come down from Pelican Bay, Shoe, and he was a character, right? And he was in pretty good with one of the legends. And it was a legend, I don't want to say which legend, but he had it pretty good with them. And I think they had some things lined up, some work, some responsibilities for Chunky when he gets out, that he was going to be, basically he was on a path to be somebody, right? Well, that legend was murdered on the streets. And when that happened, it did something to Chunky. See, prior to that, we kicked it every day on the yard. Every day. And when the word came down, and he was one of the first ones, I remember him telling me, man, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but they just green-lighted my neighborhood. And I said, why? And he goes, because so-and-so was found, and they're saying that his neighborhood did it. This is what he's telling me. And he's like, you think it's gonna come back on me? I said, why? Where'd you go? You were in your cell, right? And but I remember, because he liked to bullshit a lot and clown a lot, he was on the yard crew. People were used to talking shit to him, not in a bad way, but clowning. And next thing you know, he had a book on depression, and he was like walking across the yard with it, and Vault was like, hey, what's going on? And he's like, man, hey, that shit hit me hard. And then we're like, man, put the fucking book away. Shit don't even look right, because that's considered weakness, right? Well, I want to back up for a second and then let you guys know which stories that Chunky was involved in. So, those of you that been day oneers, I told a funny prison story a while back about a homie that wanted to gamble the woods in a flag football game. And it was, I don't remember how, I think it was $50 a game or something at this point. I don't even remember what it was for. And Chunky's fat ass at the end of the game was like, get me the ball. The Woods were gonna kick off the ball, and Chunky was like, give me the ball. I don't care who catches it. That's my fucking feria. I'm gonna run the ball back, right? And he did. They got the ball, and then they threw it back to him, and he's running, and his fat ass, all he had on was boxers, socks, and tennis shoes, and his flags. And he's running and he's juking, and I'm right there on the sidelines. It's funny. Everybody's laughing. Like, look at this fat ass. And there was a Wood there, a Wood from Compton, and he was fast. And Chunky is like, no line, like at the what would have been like the 50-yard line. You know, there was no lines or nothing. And Chunky was past everybody. This is a touchdown. And damn, Joe was just gone. And it looked like he was not going to catch him. He dove, and it was like, holy shit, he's going to get his flag. And then you just heard, he didn't get his flag, but he ripped the boxers off of Chunky's fat ass. And Chunky kept running for like the rest of the field to the touchdown. Now with no boxers on, but his flags, his shoes and socks. And he spikes the ball butt naked, basically. And he's like, yeah, motherfucker. The whole yard was quiet. Everybody's looking. The whole entire yard was quiet. And then in a matter of seconds, the whole yard started laughing. Like, I've never heard the whole yard laugh before in any prison other than that day. And I even looked over to the program office. That's where the cops are. That's basically the police department on the yard, right? And COs came out and were looking and they were pointing and they were laughing. Like everybody was pointing and just laughing. And so that's one of the stories that I told. I told a story about Jimmy, the wood that let me borrow his TV when no one else did. He's a good dude, man. Shout out to Jimmy. Hopefully he's all right. And I talked about how Jimmy was late on a drug debt on the yard, and it was decided, the person that he owed decided, fuck him, he got to go. Well, Chunky was the one that middleman that deal. And so it was therefore Chunky's responsibility to handle that. Because me and Chunky were like this, he didn't even have to ask me. He's like, hey, Holmes, I got to fucking do a hotline. And I said, I'm going to go with you, Holmes. Who is it? And he said, it's Jimmy. And I was like, damn, Holmes, Jimmy's fucking cool as fuck, eh? But if he's late, he got to go, I'm going to go with you. And for those that didn't see that video, Chunky had been waiting on some time to come back. And when he was going to get his time back, he was going to go home, right? He was going to be very short to the house. So, first yard, I'm strapped up. Chunky's strapped up. Now, this is his hotline that I'm assisting on. So, I can't just jump on Jimmy. Plus, the dude that Chunky middleman the deal for, I couldn't stand him, and he couldn't stand me. So I wasn't doing any favors for that dude. I was assisting the dude that was my dog, right? So I'm like, come on, Holmes, let's go whack him. Jimmy was no slouch. Jimmy had done a lot of things for his legends in Old Folsom, right? Jimmy felt it. Jimmy knew who the shooters were because we kept posting up by him, and Chunky kept bullshitting. So now he knows to look at me and Chunky. And I'm like, come on, Holmes. And he's like, wait. I'm like, homie, what are we waiting for, Holmes? Let's go stab the fucking dog shit at him. I actually came up with a plan that we would have killed Jimmy. And Chunky didn't want to do it. It was too hard to get into the gym. But had we got into the gym with Jimmy, it would have been over with. But it didn't work out that way. So we're on the yard. And I'm like, come on, Holmes, let's fucking go already. And equipment recall. When they announce equipment recall, you got 5 minutes. And yard's over. Time to go in. So they announced equipment recall. And I look at Chunky and I'm like, come on, Holmes. And he goes, next yard, we'll get him. Second yard. I said, all right, I'm going to sneak out. I'll be out here. So I go and, put away my thing. Actually, I gave it to him. He was yard crew, and I told him, here, get rid of it. Put it away. When I come back, we're whacking this vato. And it was that yard recall where, Jimmy came near us, and I went to shake his hand. And that's when Jimmy told me, hey, Holmes, no matter of fact, I was still strapped. I was still strapped up when I shook his hand. I got rid of the piece after I shook his hand. And Jimmy looked at me, man, and he was very disappointed. You could see it in his eyes, and he goes, "I can't believe it's you." And I was like, "What?" He goes, "You know what I'm talking about." He goes, "I'm not dumb, man." He goes, "You and this dude ain't slick." He goes, "But you, I don't understand why you are getting involved in it, man." And, I was like, "You tripping, homie. Everything's good." And he's like, and he walked off, and he had Woods with him. It was like 5 of them. So I tell Chunky, "Look, Holmes, they know now. You took too long. They know." I said, "It's probably going to kick some shit off, but, So I'm like, "I'm going to be back out second yard." Second yard, I come out, and I have to search for Chunky. I got to hunt him down. And I was like, "Come on, Holmes, let's go right now. Let's just go whack this fool right now. Fuck waiting to the end of the yard or anything like that. Let's just go get him." He goes, "Nah, don't even trip on that shit, homie." I said, "What do you mean don't trip on that shit?" He goes, "Nah, I'm not going to do that shit." I said, "What you mean you ain't going to do it?" And he said, "Remember that time I was waiting on?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "The counselor called me in between yards." He goes, "They gave me my time back." He goes, "I should be gone within 45 days, 30 days, 45 days, whatever it was, right?" And I looked at him and I said, "What, Holmes?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm going to be going home soon. They gave me all my time back." I said, "It don't work like that, Holmes. Like, you got an obligation. You sold that dope. Fuck that vato." It was a homie, but I was like, "Fuck that vato." But you know what I mean? Like, you have to do that. And he's like, "Man, fuck him, Holmes." He goes, "Why are you worried about him? You don't like him. He don't like you." He goes, "Matter of fact, he asked me, anyways, he asked him if I would do it because he had already let him know he ain't going to do it." And I told him, "Hey, Holmes, so you get out." I go, "Let's say you get out in 30 days, 45 days. I said, you're going to come right back, Holmes. You're an idiot." I said, so you plan on doing time for the rest of your life, looking over your shoulders?" I said, "Because that vato right there is in touch with a lot of people. He's going to tell on you. He's going to tell them that you failed in your obligations. He's going to get you green lighted, Holmes." And he's like, "Man, fuck that vato. If he tries that, I'm going to tell him straight out, like, hey, that vato was right there with me. Why didn't he do it?" And I told him, I said, "Hey, Holmes, that's like final, Holmes. Like, you're not going to go whack him? Like, this ain't even my thing, Holmes. And I'm telling you, let's go whack this dude. But you're telling me you're not fucking with it?" And he goes, "Nah, I'm going home, man." I said, "All right." It was at that point that I no longer hung out with Chunky every day. And he knew it. He knew why. I'm a lifer. That's my world. The planet that I live on is the California Department of Corrections. I'm not getting out. I'm not going to be tainted by his fucked up decision. He had an obligation. He needed to whack that dude, and I was willing to go with him. And he chose not to. That's his bed to lay in. I wasn't going to be in it. So from that day on, I cut ties, and, it was, "Hey, all right, Holmes, how you doing, eh?" That was the extent of me fucking with Chunky. Then the third story that I told that had to do with Chunky was when the Bulldog got the outfit from the two Southerners. Well, he got it from Chunky, and he got it. He asked Chunky if he could use his piece he could use his outfit so he could slam. And Chunky told him, "Hey, homeboy, down the way has it. Go get it from him." And the other homie said, "Hey, I'm using it right now. When you come out of the shower, I'll give it to you." And the Bulldog came out of the shower, and the homie was about to clean it. And he's like, "Hey, look, I don't have time." He goes, I got to go in. And so the homie gave him a little baggie with some powdered bleach in it. And he goes, "Okay, well, here, tell them to hook it up with this." Right? So he's giving them bleach, saying basically, "Look, I didn't get a chance to clean it. When you give it to him, tell him this." Why he told him that when the Bulldog was going to use the outfit, I don't know. The Bulldog used it, did his thing, and then he dropped it off to Chunky and his Sally. And he said, here, the homie said he was hooking you up. A little change of words from, hey, tell them to hook it up with this to, hey, he's hooking you up. So they were like, feed me. He shot us a shot for using the outfit. And they put in the spoon, and when they were trying to mix it up, they realized, this thing ain't breaking down right. And when Chunky went to pull it up, his Sally was like, hey, hold on, Holmes, this ain't dope. And he smelled it. He said, hey, this is bleach. These dudes they already slammed. They already slammed that meth shit, right? And so now their wheels start spinning. Why did this vato just try to kill us? Was on their mind. So the next day, I don't know anything about this. And my Sally's one of the main dudes on the yard, him and one other dude. And I happen to be playing Pinochle with R. R is the guy that had the outfit. And so if you picture 4 people on a table, I'm sitting here and I'm facing him. So I'm not sitting regular, like this. I'm facing him with the bench in between my legs. And the table's right here. So I'm like this playing cards. R is right next to me. And I had noticed when I came out for yard that day that Chunky was dressed all nice in blues. And I remember asking him that morning, hey, what's up? Hey, you paroling or what? And he's like, nah, I gotta go see the counselor. I was like, all right. So I didn't think anything of it. While we're playing Pinochle, we're playing, and I went to put a card, and out of the corner of my eye, I caught the movement, and I leaned back, and I looked, and Chunky stabbed R in the neck. One time. Obviously, he was just trying to get him off the yard. He's twacked out. And I remember, like I said, I fucking looked, and I saw when it went in, and I saw when he pulled it out. Anybody that's had a deep cut or anything happen to you, it takes a second for the blood to flow. When he pulled his hand back, I saw a perfect circle, perfect hole in R's neck, right? And then I looked like this because Chunky hit him, boom, and he said something to him, and then he walked off. And so in that second when I looked back, like I saw the hole, and then I went like this to look, and then I looked back, and there was already blood pouring. And R jumped up and was like, what's up, you fucking punk? Come on. And Chunky kept going, but his Sally was trailing him, and his Sally's a fool, known to be a fool. His Sally is involved in another big story that I've told before, right? But his Sally told him, shut the fuck up, Ese. Oh, he told him, shut the fuck up, Ese, before I whack you. And R looked at him like, orale, there's 2. And then he looked directly at me. Again, my Sally was one of the main dudes on the yard. So in his mind, I immediately catch it. Oh, he thinks that my Sally knew, therefore I knew, and that I basically set him up by telling him, hey, let's play cards. So he looks at me and he goes, hey, Holmes, this right here, this shit ain't right. And this dude was very connected. And he tells me, hey, this shit ain't gonna stay like this. Basically, I don't remember word for word, but basically the threat was everyone involved in this is gonna get touched. And I stood up and I told him, hey, Holmes, I didn't know nothing about this. And he was like, yeah, okay, well, it'll all come out. And he took off. So that was another thing another story of Chunky. So that's 3 stories with that dude. Okay. So not long after that, and I want to be honest, while I was there in New Folsom, that was during the time before they changed it to where it was take them to the dirt on every pegada, right? This was during the time where everybody got away with stabbings in New Folsom because the cops didn't want to do the paperwork. Like, I remember dudes getting hit and there would be a cop like right there, and the cop would see it and like turn his head and walk off like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that paperwork. Nope. And the bulldog himself, he told on Chunky. And it was a couple months later because R went to the hole. He was in the hole with us, and he signed off on everything and got sent back to B facility. And he went and he whacked the bulldog because he had heard that what the word he had used, and he whacked him. And when he whacked him, the bulldog told the cops why he got whacked and what happened. And so Chunky got snatched up. He got sent to Ad Seg. He went to 6 block, A6. The two Ad Segs back then were A5 and A6. I was in A5 at the time. And over there in A6, there happened to be a legend there. And lo and behold, they throw Chunky in the cell with the legend. R is not going to help in any kind of way whatsoever. He's not going to assist on that hit on him. He straight out said, nah, that dude never did nothing to me. And so it was obvious that Chunky was going to beat that case and go home. So being in the cell with the legend, being short to the house, that created another great opportunity for him. And while in that cell, him and the legend were able to discuss a whole lot of things, a whole lot of ventures, right? Some business ventures, some business opportunities, work. And Chunky wholeheartedly agreed to every single thing. And so the day he paroled, he was not a legend, of course, but he was given a lot of authority over a portion of the streets. And what did Chunky do? He went and he abused that authority. Everything he collected, he kept. He did not do a single thing he was supposed to do. And basically became a dead man walking. And you know, it was a trip because he knew what he was doing when he was in New Folsom with us. After, you know, when he was seen with that depression book, I remember a lot of people saying, because he started doing crazy shit on the yard. And I remember homies saying, that vato has a death wish, eh? That thing fucked his head up so bad, he's looking for a reason to get killed. He's not gonna kill himself. He's gonna force someone else to kill him. But he made it through. And then he did the unthinkable. And the crazy thing is, when he got busted, from what we were told, he got involved in one of them PC gangs and then told on all them. You know, when I make these videos, I try to have a meaning, a message. I don't like to talk just to talk. No one that knew Chunky could ever figure out, why the hell did he do what he did? Was it mental health issues? Was that depression really that? Was he? I don't know. I decided to tell this story because I don't know the answer. And maybe people from the outside looking in can hear this story and let me know What the hell was that dude thinking? He wanted to be somebody so bad and had an opportunity, and the opportunity was taken from him. Then the opportunity presented itself again, and he was given the path that he had thought he was going to get in the first place. And what did he do? He fucked it off. He was a pig. And he fucked over everyone who trusted him. On both sides. What a trip, right? That's my video for today, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them. I'm out of here.